The air inside Kuramae Kokugikan smelled like wet clay and the sweat of 10,000 past matches. 9,000 people filled Tokyo's sacred Sumo hall on an October evening in 1971. The scent of incense from the purification ritual still lingered near the dohyo, mixed with cigarette smoke from the upper seats, mixed with the particular smell of tension that comes before something forbidden. This was not a tournament. This was something the Japan Sumo Association had debated for 3 weeks before approving. A cultural exchange demonstration. Chinese martial arts meeting Japanese sumo. The traditionalists had argued against it, said the dohyo was sacred, that foreign techniques had no place in the circle. The modernists had won, barely. Now 9,000 witnesses would determine who had been right. Bruce Lee arrived at 7:15 through a side entrance most visitors never saw. Black training pants, barefoot, no shirt. A translator walked beside him. A nervous liaison from the organizing committee walked ahead. At 5'7" and 135 pounds, Bruce looked like staff, like someone who carried equipment, not like someone about to step into the most traditional arena in Japanese sports. The liaison stopped at the edge of the performance area, turned, his face showed worry. "Mr. Lee," he said quietly, "the wrestler they have chosen is Takamura." Bruce waited. The liaison continued. "He is Yokozuna. Undefeated 12 years. Very traditional, very proud." The liaison paused. "He may not be cooperative." Bruce's expression did not change. "That is his choice," he said. The liaison nodded, led him to a waiting area near the dohyo. Bruce sat on a wooden bench, worn smooth by decades of wrestlers. He did not stretch, did not prepare visibly, just sat, breathing, watching the crowd fill the arena. The sound of 9,000 conversations created a wall of noise that pressed against the walls. At 7:30, the eastern entrance opened. The crowd rose as one body. The sound of 9,000 people standing created a pressure wave. Takamura entered. He wore the kesho mawashi, embroidered with his stable's mon, the ceremonial apron that cost more than most men earned in 3 months. His body was a monument to sumo. 450 pounds distributed with purpose. Legs like bridge supports. Torso like a barrel. Arms thick enough to crush ribs. His top knot was perfect. His face was stone. He climbed onto the dohyo. The platform groaned. He performed the ritual stomping. Each foot raised, each foot driven down, driving evil spirits from the ring. The sound echoed. When he finished, he stood center ring, looked directly at Bruce. His eyes said what his mouth did not need to. "You do not belong here." The referee climbed onto the dohyo. He wore traditional black robes with gold trim. His face was carefully neutral. A referee in sumo must show no favor, no emotion, just observe and declare. He gestured for Bruce to enter the ring. Bruce stood, stepped onto the dohyo barefoot. The clay was cool, slightly damp, packed hard. He walked to his position. The size difference drew gasps from the crowd. Takamura looked like he could break Bruce by falling on him. The referee spoke in Japanese, explaining the demonstration rules. The translator repeated quietly. Takamura would perform a ceremonial charge. Bruce would demonstrate evasion. No full contact, no injury. Respect between disciplines. The referee bowed to both men. Bruce bowed back immediately, deep, his torso bent 45 degrees, his hands precise, acknowledging the sacred space, acknowledging tradition. Takamura did not bow. He stood with arms crossed, staring at Bruce like he was staring at an insect. The crowd's noise died instantly. 9,000 people went silent. In sumo, refusing the bow was not rudeness, it was declaration. It said the opponent was unworthy, that their presence violated sacred space, that tradition mattered more than ceremony. The referee's face tightened. He spoke quietly to Takamura, asking him to reconsider. Takamura shook his head once. Definitive, still did not bow. The referee looked at Bruce. His eyes apologized. Bruce straightened from his bow, his expression calm. He looked at Takamura for 3 seconds. then nodded once. Acceptance. The referee stepped back, raised his hand. The signal. Takamura dropped into Shiko stance. This was not the ceremonial position they had discussed. This was Tachi-ai, the combat stance, the explosive launch position used in real matches. The referee hesitated, his hand hovering. He could stop this, should stop this, but 9,000 people were watching. He dropped his hand. Takamura exploded. The sound of his feet leaving clay was like a shotgun. 450 pounds accelerating to full speed in 6 feet, his hands extended, reaching for Bruce's torso, fingers spread, ready to grab, ready to drive Bruce backward out of the ring, out of the sacred circle, back to whatever foreign place he came from. Second one. Bruce shifted left. 6 inches. Takamura's right hand passed through empty air. His fingers closed on nothing. His eyes widened. Confusion. Bruce was not where he should be. Second 2. Takamura adjusted. His left hand swept across, trying to grab. His fingers brushed Bruce's shoulder, touched fabric, did not grip. Bruce was already moving. Second 3. Takamura planted his right foot. 450 pounds of muscle redirected. His body twisted. His left hand drove forward. Palm strike aimed at Bruce's sternum. If it landed, ribs would crack. The crowd leaned forward. This was not demonstration anymore. Second 4. Bruce's right hand intercepted, not blocking, deflecting, gentle pressure on Takamura's wrist. The palm strike continued past Bruce's shoulder. Takamura's momentum carried him forward, his weight committed. Second 5. Bruce's left foot stepped, placed behind Takamura's right ankle. Simple positioning, no force. Second 6. Bruce's right hand moved to Takamura's shoulder. Fingertips made contact. Light touch, directional. Takamura's weight was already forward. The touch guided, encouraged the fall. His body was already beginning. Second 7. Takamura's right foot lifted, stepped forward, found Bruce's left foot occupying the space. His ankle caught. Second 8. Disconnect, upper body forward, legs stopped, physics decided. Second 9. Takamura fell. 450 pounds hit the clay. The sound was thunder. Dust rose. The dohyo shook. Takamura lay on his back, breathing, eyes wide, staring at the ceiling he had never seen from this angle. Second 10. Bruce stepped back, stood, breathing normal. Takamura pushed himself up slowly. His hands left imprints in the clay. 12 years. 12 years since clay had touched his back. He stood, brushed dust from his mawashi. His face was red. His hands shook slightly. Second 11. Silence. 9,000 people made no sound. The referee stood frozen. Takamura looked at Bruce. Something passed across his face. Not respect. Not yet. Something harder. Anger mixed with confusion. He had felt it. The moment his ankle caught, the light touch on his shoulder, he knew what had happened. But knowing did not make it acceptable. Then Takamura did something that surprised the crowd more than the fall. He dropped back into Shiko stance. The referee's eyes went wide. Takamura charged again. No signal, no permission, just exploded forward. Faster this time, more committed, more violent. Bruce moved, but this time Takamura anticipated. His left hand swept low, caught Bruce's right leg mid-movement, grabbed, held. His fingers were iron. Bruce's balance shifted. His weight tilted. For half a second, he was vulnerable. Takamura saw it, drove his shoulder into Bruce's chest. Contact, real contact. Bruce's feet left the ground. He twisted in air, landed on his side, hard. The clay was unforgiving. The crowd gasped. Takamura stood over him, breathing hard, his face showing something between triumph and desperation. Bruce rolled to his feet, slower this time. His right side where he landed was already starting to ache. His breathing had changed, deeper, more focused. The referee stepped forward, hands raised. "Enough," he said in Japanese. "This is finished." Takamura ignored him, came again, this time with pure sumo aggression, driving forward, trying to push Bruce out, to restore order, to prove weight mattered. Bruce's feet slid backward on the clay. Takamura's hands found his shoulders. Grip established. 450 pounds pushed. Bruce's heels touched the edge of the ring. One more step, and he would be out, defeated, humiliated. Bruce stopped moving backward. His weight dropped. His hips shifted. Takamura was pushing, expecting resistance, found nothing. His weight carried forward. Bruce's right hand found Takamura's elbow. His left hand touched Takamura's ribs. Precise placement. Pressure point. Takamura's left side went momentarily numb. His grip failed. His balance broke. Bruce stepped offline. Takamura's momentum carried him past, toward the edge. His feet scrambled, trying to stop. 450 pounds does not stop instantly. His right foot stepped outside the ring, just barely, just the heel, but outside. The referee saw it. In sumo, stepping outside meant defeat. The referee's hand rose, pointed, called it. Takamura had stepped out. The match was over. The crowd erupted, not cheering, arguing, half shouting that Takamura won, half shouting that Bruce won. The noise was deafening. Takamura stood at the edge of the ring, staring at his own foot, the heel still outside, his breathing ragged, his face red. He turned to Bruce, fury in his eyes. Then something else. The fury cracked. Beneath it was something more complicated. He had felt it again. The moment his ribs went numb, the way his own momentum had been used, he was stronger, heavier, more experienced. And yet here he stood, outside the ring, defeated in his own sacred space. Takamura looked at the crowd. 9,000 faces, some angry, some shocked, some disappointed. He looked at the referee. The referee's face was neutral, following rules, following tradition. The foot had stepped out. That was fact. Takamura looked at Bruce. Bruce stood in the center of the ring, not celebrating, not gloating, just standing, breathing, waiting. For 5 seconds, no one moved. Then Takamura stepped back into the ring, walked to center, stood in front of Bruce. The crowd went silent again, waiting. Takamura bowed, not deep, not the bow of apology, the shallow bow of acknowledgement, the bow that said you were real. Bruce bowed back, equal depth. Takamura turned, walked to the edge of the dohyo, climbed down, did not look back, did not speak, just left through the eastern entrance. The crowd watched him go, confused, disappointed, wanting more, wanting explanation, getting none. The referee approached Bruce, spoke quietly in Japanese. The translator repeated, "He says, you should leave now, before this becomes something else." Bruce nodded, stepped off the dohyo. The liaison appeared, nervous, sweating. This way, quickly. They left through the side entrance. Behind them, the crowd's noise grew. Arguments, debates, some saying Bruce had cheated, some saying Takamura had been arrogant, some saying the demonstration should never have happened. The noise followed them down corridors, into a changing room. The liaison closed the door, the sound muffled. The translator spoke. That was not supposed to happen that way. Bruce wiped clay dust from his feet. "No," he said, "but it happened." The liaison's face was pale. "The association will be angry. There will be complaints." Bruce pulled on his shoes. "That is not my concern." He stood. The liaison opened his mouth, closed it, led them out through a back exit into Tokyo's October night. Years later, a sports journalist would track down 3 people who had been in the arena that night. Each told different versions. One said Bruce Lee had humiliated Japanese tradition. One said Takamura had been exposed as overrated. One said both men had shown something real, that combat has no politics, only truth. Takamura never spoke about it publicly. Retired from sumo in 1974, opened a restaurant in Osaka. When reporters asked about the night he fought Bruce Lee, he would say only that it was a demonstration, nothing more. but his students from later years reported that he taught differently after 1971. Less emphasis on overwhelming power, more on reading opponents, more on adaptation. Bruce Lee died in 1973. The Kuramae demonstration was never mentioned in interviews, but one private note found after his death read, "Took a fall tonight. Reminder that dominance is temporary. Understanding is permanent. Even in victory, remain student." The lesson was not about who won. It was about what happens when certainty meets uncertainty. When 12 years of being undefeated meets someone who does not fight the way you trained to fight. When tradition meets adaptation, both men left that dohyo changed. One learned humility, one learned limits. 9,000 people went silent because they watched two truths collide, and neither emerged unchanged.